Speaking of Durham, 1 year ago today, Coach K was immersed in his final year at the helm of the Duke Blue Devils. He was also gearing up his team for another Battle of the Blues game and another run for the national championship title. However, a lot has changed in 1 year. You know, retirement often means that you take it easy, you relax. At 75 years old, Mike Krzyzewski has retired from coaching, but he's not really slowing down.
This is, all the presidents that we're fortunate to meet with.
Wow.
Look around Coach K's office at Duke, and it's like going to a museum.
And then with Dean, with Jim Valvano, who were like brothers.
Each picture and memento sharing a piece of his story.
Yeah, I get chills thinking of with Kobe, and thanks for all the golden moments together. You're the best. And I love that relationship.
National championships, the Olympics, so many accolades and meaningful occasions. The walls of his large office can barely fit them all.
When you do have a moment where you're just thinking, and all of a sudden you might focus on one of the pictures or whatever, and I like that.
But don't think being in these surroundings means Mike Krzyzewski lives in the past.
I'm being honest, I do not miss coaching. I've loved what I've done my whole life. In order to do what you love, you don't always do everything that you love. Time's precious, especially as you get older. I want to make better use of my time for me and my family.
Coach K, his wife of 53 years, Mickey, and his 3 daughters, whom he calls his starting 5, have grown into an extended and still very close family.
So how much do you revere the role of Grandpa? Or is that what they call you?
You can't say Grandpa. You got to say Poppy.
Poppy. Okay.
Yeah. And no, I love it.
He has 10 grandchildren, and yes, some of them play basketball.
Yesterday, I watched 2 of my grandsons in 2 different games. Actually, I'm getting to spend more quality time with some of them than I did with my own daughters. I like the fact that we have those relationships.
Do they ask for your advice playing basketball?
A little bit, yeah. But I'll goof with them a little bit, or if they're at our house, I'd say, Quinn, I was watching you on defense. I don't know why you have your hands up here. You should have your hands down here. I find, even when I coached, people think of us just yelling at our guys and that, but humor plays a big part of teaching, but also developing a relationship.
Now, as a parent, as a grandparent, what advice as Coach K would you give to parents and grandparents out there who want their children to be the next star at Duke?
Yeah, well, just to, the youngster has to have fun in whatever he or she is doing. And don't always ask them how many points you scored or did you win? Did you have fun? Did you play hard? Don't attach your ego into what your kid is doing. That's a big mistake. If you make somebody better, you're going to be better.
Krzyzewski's idea of retirement is not playing golf or sitting on the beach. He stays busy with a radio show and speaking engagements, which keep him studying leadership and teamwork.
When thinking of retirement and talking to people, one word came up a lot was to have purpose. Purpose. That when you get up in the morning, what's your purpose? I'm not trying to figure out how to attack Boeheim's zone or somebody's press or think of the most intricate out-of-bounds play anymore. I don't think about any of those things. But I do think about teamwork, leadership, how to have people come together.
For 30 years, I've covered ACC tournaments and Final Fours. This was my favorite conversation I've ever had with Coach. To see him enjoying life outside of the pressures of being Coach K was simply amazing. It was great. You could see the joy in his face and in his body language, talking about his family. Now, don't get me wrong. As you can hear there, he's staying very busy supporting Duke, the Emily Krzyzewski Center, still loves Duke and Durham. He's speaking and teaching others about leadership. He seems so content in where he is right now. That was great to see. At 7 o'clock, how even coaching 1,600 games, the lesson he learned on the road to the Final Four. It's amazing. Our conversation was so long and so involved. We spent almost an hour together. It was just great to see him. By the way, that office is at Duke. He and his wife, Mickey, are still lifetime ambassadors at Duke. So that's why he still maintains that wonderful museum of an office there.
I think what stood out to me most was he said, when you do something you love, you don't get to always do what you love.
Yeah.
And it is so
Quite
true
powerful.
for Coach K and
Yeah.
coaches who are on that level, or at least in Division I major sports. You devote your life to it.
Absolutely.
You have to.
He talked about how his wife, Mickey, used to say, you need to get out of the tunnel. Because he's like, I would always be in the tunnel. And so she said, every once in a while, you got to get out of that tunnel. And he said, well, I can't get out for very long because I got to
Yeah.
get back in that tunnel. So it was a great conversation. And because it was so long, I hope you can listen to the rest of my interview with Coach K in the WRAL Daily Download podcast. It's available now in Apple Podcasts, or go to WRAL.com, search podcast.